The story begins in the beautiful country of Norway, where the capital city of Oslo seems peaceful on a bright morning. However, a devastating disaster is about to strike and change human history forever. This is the story of the Quake, a movie about a terrifying earthquake that brings destruction across Norway. At the beginning, we see researcher Johannes being interviewed by a major news channel about the sudden increase in powerful earthquakes around the city. Johannes explains that humans cannot control natural events. Soon after, another interview takes place with Kristian Eikjord, a respected geologist who is admired because he saved many lives during the previous tsunami disaster. Kristian was considered a hero after the tsunami, but he was hiding a shocking truth that nobody else knew. He had discovered signs of another possible disaster, and this secret would soon put countless lives at risk. Kristian was afraid that if he revealed the truth, people would either laugh at him or refuse to believe his warnings. That was why he kept everything a secret. During the interview, he carefully answered every question without revealing his concerns. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, a researcher named Konrad enters a strange underground tunnel. He had recently discovered some important information and went there to confirm his findings. However, a powerful earthquake suddenly strikes the area. As the ground starts shaking violently, Konrad realizes something terrible is about to happen. Within moments, the entire tunnel collapses. Konrad and his companion are unable to escape and are buried under massive rocks, losing their lives inside the tunnel. The next day, news reports reveal the tragic accident. The media announces that Konrad and his companion died because of a devastating earthquake. Kristian is deeply shaken by the news because he later discovers that Konrad was his old colleague and friend. He cannot understand why such powerful earthquakes are happening so frequently. Just then, Kristian receives a package, and to his surprise, it was sent by Konrad before his death. Nervous but curious, Kristian opens it and finds Konrad's research papers containing detailed reports about recent earthquakes. According to Konrad's research, a magnitude 6 earthquake had been detected near the tunnel area, causing unexpected damage before disappearing. However, the most shocking part was Konrad's final conclusion. His investigation revealed that a massive earthquake, stronger than magnitude 10, could strike the city at any moment. Such a disaster could cause unimaginable destruction and kill thousands of people. In his report, Konrad warned that everyone needed to evacuate the city before it was too late. After reading this, Kristian becomes extremely worried because his wife and children are living not far from the danger zone. If the earthquake happens, their lives could be in serious danger. Kristian immediately decides to take action. He gathers all of Konrad's reports and heads out to inform the authorities because there is no time to waste. He knows this warning must reach everyone before it is too late, and the city needs to be evacuated as soon as possible. Kristian arrives at the private organization where he and Konrad used to work together. There, he meets Johannes, the manager of the organization, who was also the person interviewed at the beginning of the story. Kristian quickly hands over all of Konrad's research papers and explains that Konrad discovered signs of a massive earthquake approaching the city. He also tells him that the tunnel where Konrad died collapsed because of a similar earthquake. However, Johannes remains surprisingly calm after hearing everything. Then he reveals something shocking to Kristian. He explains that their organization has advanced technology and special equipment capable of detecting earthquakes before they happen. This discovery gives Kristian hope that they might still have a chance to prevent a major disaster. But the question remains whether their technology will be enough to save thousands of lives before the deadly earthquake strikes. Johannes explains that they are close to creating a system that could control underground vibrations. If successful, it might one day make it possible to stop earthquakes. He then reveals something shocking. According to him, Konrad did not die because of an earthquake. A construction project had accidentally started near the tunnel, and an explosion caused the collapse. Johannes insists that Konrad's death was just an accident and had nothing to do with earthquakes, dismissing his entire research as meaningless. However, Kristian refuses to believe him. After reading Konrad's detailed reports, he cannot accept that his friend was wrong. Determined to discover the truth, Kristian begins his own investigation. He visits Konrad's house, where he meets Konrad's daughter, Marit. Since she already knows Kristian, she trusts him and takes him to her father's study. Inside, Kristian finds many different types of rocks carefully stored in the room. He realizes that Konrad was studying magnetic fields, underground conditions, and earthquake zones. While examining the research, Kristian discovers something terrifying. His own family is living inside one of the high-risk earthquake zones. He had never noticed this before, but now the truth fills him with fear. Without wasting any time, Kristian calls Johannes and prepares to take action. Kristian asks for the contact numbers of the construction contractors working in that area because he wants to warn them and make sure the site is cleared before any disaster happens. On the way, Audun calls and reminds him that Julia's dance performance is about to begin, and he needs to reach the opera house quickly. Before Kristian could arrive, the entire city suddenly lost power. Darkness covered everything, making it seem like a massive electrical failure had occurred. Then, without warning, an earthquake struck near the opera house. The shaking was so powerful that the entire building started collapsing, killing many people within moments. Kristian heard terrifying screams and panic through the phone and immediately understood the danger. He drove toward the opera house at full speed. Inside the damaged building, Audun searched through the ruins for Julia. After a while, she found her daughter hiding in a corner, and that decision saved Julia's life. Audun grabbed her hand and quickly moved her to a safer place. Kristian arrived there with Marit and tried to contact Audun. When the call finally connected, Audun told him that she and Julia had safely reached home. Kristian felt relieved, but he was also filled with guilt because once again, his work had kept him away from his daughter. He missed Julia's performance and the chance to protect her. At the scene, Kristian saw Johannes and his team inspecting the damage. The building's pillars were badly damaged, and they were analyzing the structure. Kristian angrily asked Johannes why the earthquake happened and why their system failed to detect it. Johannes then claimed that it was not an earthquake at all. Johannes refuses to accept that his team failed to predict the disaster and blames everything on the opera house's weak construction. He claims the entire building was standing on poor quality pillars and that even a small force was enough to destroy it. Kristian quickly realizes that Johannes is making excuses, but instead of arguing, he walks away and goes straight to Audun's house. When he arrives, he finds Audun crying because the incident has deeply shaken her. Their daughter survived by luck, and the thought of what could have happened leaves her terrified. Kristian slowly approaches her and for the first time sincerely apologizes. He admits that he always loved his family and wanted to be with them, but his work constantly came between them. Audun feels the honesty in his words, hugs him, and after a long time, Kristian finally feels at peace. The next day, Audun goes to work at the hotel where she is a receptionist, looking happier than before, as if her family is coming back together. Meanwhile, Sondre attends a university lecture, and Marit checks her father's laptop at home. While searching through the files, she discovers a folder containing strange experimental videos that reveal more about Conrad's research. The videos show experiments being performed on mice, and Marit becomes terrified after watching them. She immediately calls Kristian and asks him to come over. When he arrives, she shows him the footage, and Kristian carefully examines it. He quickly realizes something shocking. All the mice died because of exposure to a dangerous gas. After studying the videos closely, he understands the real cause. The explosions had released carbon dioxide and other toxic gases into the air. Kristian finally understands what Conrad was trying to warn everyone about. The earthquakes and landslides were not only destroying everything on the surface, they were also releasing deadly gases trapped underground. If these gases could kill the mice so quickly, humans and animals would have almost no chance of surviving. Kristian knows exactly what he must do. The entire city needs to be evacuated immediately before it is too late. He puts Julia and Marit in the car and drives toward a safer location. At the same time, he repeatedly calls his older son Sondre, who is at the university. However, Sondre does not take his father's warning seriously and ignores the calls. Kristian knows he cannot leave his son behind. He has to fulfill his responsibility as a father and go back for him. Kristian realizes that he has to save not only his son, but also everyone at the university. In a desperate move, he calls the police and makes a false report claiming that bombs have been planted inside the university. He knows this will force the authorities to evacuate the building immediately, giving Sondre and the other students a chance to survive. After confirming that the evacuation has started, Kristian heads straight to the hotel where Audun works. He tells Julia to wait near the car while he brings her mother out, but Julia is terrified and does not want to stay alone. Ignoring her father's instructions, she quietly follows him inside. Kristian finds Audun and in panic explains everything. He tells her that a massive earthquake could strike at any moment and they must leave the city immediately. To clear the building quickly, Kristian activates the fire alarm. He and Audun enter an elevator to reach the ground floor and escape with Julia. However, they do not know that Julia is already inside the hotel. Suddenly, disaster strikes. The entire city loses power, darkness covers everything, and the elevator suddenly stops. Kristian and Eikjord become trapped inside, terrified and unsure how they will escape. Meanwhile, Julia stands nearby, watching the chaos unfold. Julia witnesses something she had never seen before as a massive earthquake begins tearing through the city. The ground shakes violently, and the destruction is so extreme that it feels like nothing can survive. For the first time, Kristian, Eikjord, and Julia see a disaster of this scale with their own eyes. Huge skyscrapers collapse like toys. Deep cracks split the streets, and the beautiful city quickly turns into a dangerous wasteland. Inside the hotel, panic spreads as the crowded building starts falling apart. Walls collapse, debris rains down from above, and people desperately try to escape. While trying to protect Julia, Marit is suddenly hit by falling rubble. She loses consciousness and suffers serious injuries. Julia is terrified, but she refuses to leave Marit behind. She pulls her to a safer spot and holds on to her, hoping they will survive. Meanwhile, Kristian and Eikjord are still trapped inside the damaged elevator. The backup power returns, but the elevator remains stuck because the damage is too severe and debris has blocked it from the outside. Then they hear something that shocks them. Julia had followed Kristian into the hotel. Fear takes over as they wonder whether their daughter is alive or dead. However, they cannot reach her because the elevator walls are dangerously cracking under the pressure of the collapsed building. Kristian and Eikjord sit quietly inside the elevator, holding on to each other and hoping they can find a way out before everything collapses. Meanwhile, at the university, Sondre and his girlfriend survive by hiding under a strong structure. But when they look around, they are horrified to see that many students and professors were not as lucky. Several people are buried under massive pieces of concrete and rubble, losing their lives instantly. As the earthquake grows even stronger, destruction spreads throughout the city. Buildings collapse, and panic takes over the streets. During the chaos, Marit regains consciousness and immediately goes to Julia, who is helping an injured female worker. The woman is in critical condition and barely holding on. Inside the elevator, Kristian and Eikjord continue trying to create an escape route. Suddenly, Kristian feels a powerful impact. Looking outside through a small opening, he sees something terrifying. A huge building in front of the hotel has collapsed, damaging the upper floors of their own building. The most frightening thought crosses his mind. Julia and Marit might be trapped on those floors. As the hotel becomes more unstable, the injured woman loses her balance and falls. Julia and Marit desperately try to save her, but they are unable to stop the tragedy. Marit immediately grabs Julia and holds her tightly, determined to protect her at any cost. Hearing Julia's screams, Kristian realizes they are trapped on the top floor. However, he knows an even bigger danger. The building's foundation has been badly damaged, and the entire structure could collapse at any moment. Their only option is to climb upward using the ropes attached to the elevator. If they want to save Julia, they must reach the upper floors. As they climb, the building continues shaking violently. Suddenly, a large piece of debris falls and hits Eikjord's leg. She cries out in pain and struggles to walk, but Kristian supports her. Despite their injuries and fear, both of them only care about reaching their daughter. After a difficult climb, Kristian finds an opening on another floor, but it is across a gap that can only be crossed using a rope. Kristian goes first and successfully reaches the other side. Then it is Eikjord's turn. However, disaster strikes again. The rope she is holding was already weakened, and before Kristian can help, it snaps. Eikjord screams as she falls. Kristian watches helplessly as his wife disappears before his eyes. The loss completely breaks him, leaving him overwhelmed with grief and shock. But Kristian had no time to stop because his daughter might still be waiting for him. He forces himself to move forward and finally reaches Julia and Marit. Julia is terrified, but seeing her father brings hope back to her eyes. Kristian comforts her, but their nightmare is far from over. The floor they are standing on suddenly begins cracking. A powerful aftershock sends Julia sliding toward the edge. After losing Eikjord, Kristian refuses to lose his daughter too. Without hesitation, he jumps toward Julia and grabs her just as she falls onto a glass panel. The panel starts breaking under her weight, and moments later, it shatters completely. Julia hangs in the air, screaming for help. Marit quickly rushes over, and together they use all their strength to pull Julia back to safety. Finally, the floor becomes stable, and the collapse stops. Kristian then notices something important. The earthquake's intensity is slowly decreasing. The disaster is finally coming to an end. Without wasting time, Kristian takes Julia and Marit through a safer route to the ground floor. When they arrive, they are left speechless by the destruction around them. The entire city has been devastated. Buildings have collapsed, roads are torn apart, and countless people have lost their lives. Kristian knows he will never forget this tragedy. After everything, Marit becomes exhausted and emotionally broken. She returns to her room and later goes to her father's office, where she sadly studies his research. She finally understands that Konrad knew a lot about the earthquake threat but kept everything hidden because nobody believed him. He wanted to reveal the truth only after finding a perfect solution. Even Marit, his own daughter, never knew the full story. Sitting in the office, she remembers her father with pain and regret. Meanwhile, Kristian, Sondre, and Julia leave the destroyed city and head toward Kristian's new house, a private home built deep in the forest. After the divorce, Kristian created this place to escape his loneliness, but he never imagined it would one day become his family's biggest shelter. The earthquake took away thousands of lives, and the greatest personal loss for them was Idun's death. Sondre and Julia were devastated after losing their mother, but they realized they still had their father, so they decided to stay with Kristian. However, one question remained. Could another earthquake happen again? Knowing the danger was still possible, Kristian made a decision. He would continue Konrad's research and work toward creating technology that could one day prevent earthquakes. With that, the story comes to an end.